Powered by Riverside FM.
Join us as we dive into the darkest depths of the horror genre. We'll discuss the films that have kept us up all night, the terrifying creatures that haunt our dreams, and the psychological scars that linger long after the credits roll. From classic horror to modern masterpieces, we'll rank our top picks for the most frightening films of all time. So grab your blanket, turn down the lights, and get ready for a spine-tingling experience. Tonight on Newsworthy, 2 words and 2 question marks.
He's alive! Have you checked the children? Get out!
You have scoured the podcast world and finally found us, Newsworthy with Steve and Jerry, where we delve into all things mysterious, macabre, or out of this world, and decide if they are truly newsworthy. 2 words and 2 question marks.
Hi, this is Ed Locke with USA Mortgage. Buying your first home can be overwhelming, but here are 5 tips to make the process go smoother. Number 1, find a lender, me, Ed Locke, that can answer any questions you might have and help you get pre-approved. There are multiple options available based on your situation. Number 2, work with a real estate agent you can trust. Number 3, don't rush the process. Take your time and know that the process could take some time. Number 4, consider all the costs. Number 5, get a home inspection and review it with your realtor. Keep these tips in mind, budget for yourself, and you'll be that much closer to making your dream of homeownership a reality. So reach out to me at 502-680-0953. NMLS ID 448908, DAS Acquisition Company, LLC, doing business as USA Mortgage, NMLS ID 227262. This is not a commitment to lend. Additional terms and conditions apply. USA Mortgage is an equal housing opportunity.
Oh my gosh. Guys, welcome back. Did you guys see the terrible accident that happened on 27 yesterday?
I did not.
Did not.
Man, it was bad. A truck, apparently, loaded with thesauruses overturned, and they went everywhere.
Oh,
Man,
is
that
that
sounds
right?
terrible.
It was bad. Witnesses were stunned, startled, aghast, taken aback, stupefied, confused, shocked, rattled, paralyzed, dazed, bewildered, mixed up, surprised, awed, dumbfounded, nonplussed, flabbergasted, astounded, amazed, confounded, astonished, overwhelmed, horrified, numbed, speechless, and perplexed.
You don't say.
Oh my gosh.
Welcome to the show.
What a way to open it. I didn't think you were ever going to end.
No kidding.
That's the longest damn joke I've ever heard.
The thesaurus with no end. The never-ending thesaurus.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
How are you guys doing today?
It was wonderful.
Better before that joke.
That was a great joke. That's why you're both laughing.
I was just waiting
There
for it
was
to
not
end. I'm
a
like,
single
all right,
one.
okay.
Brett's done had another kid in the time it took me to get that joke out.
Yeah, pretty much.
Fertile Myrtle over here.
Myrtle.
I have a question for you. Why is it if you donate a kidney, you're a hero?
Oh my gosh, I almost took this one.
If you donate 5 kidneys, suddenly the police are involved? I just don't get it.
I almost picked that one. Oh man, that's a good one.
That's like that one you said a long time ago about the blood bank. You remember?
Yep.
Like, they always ask all those questions like, whose blood is this? Where'd you get it? And why is it in a bucket? Why is it in a bucket?
You're talking about taking stuff to the dump. So I just found out you don't need training to be a garbage man.
Really?
Really?
Yeah. You just pick it up as you go along.
Oh, so that went to electric. It's actually on my list.
Wow. Woo!
There was one more. I'll throw it in just
Bonus.
because it was on down.
Woo! Bonus joke.
But this one is, this is sad news.
Hang on.
I don't
Bonus
know
joke.
if it's going to be up to drum roll level, but here we go. Sadly, my obese parrot just died,
Oh,
but it's a huge weight off my shoulder.
you said parrot, didn't you?
I did.
That's not what I heard.
I heard parents.
I did too. I'm like, why was they on your shoulder?
Oh my goodness. Don't know about you guys.
Woo! Tonight's going to be a fun show. I'm excited. Woo!
Gonna
Fun
be
topic.
Halloween tomorrow. So tonight is the 30th.
Yeah. So first of all, before we get into that though, we got to cover the important issues of the day.
Which are?
Namely, the fact that whilst on vacation last week, I graffitied all of San Juan with our podcast.
There you go.
So if you're listening in San Juan, you almost got to meet the famous Steve Lindsay.
We actually have quite a following in San Juan.
Really?
Yeah, it's weird. I would like to go to Slovakia one day and just meet some of our fans out there because we got a bunch of fans out there too. But it was neat.
Maybe.
In San Juan, they have these and I'm sure most big cities do anymore, but there's poles and window frames and stuff as you're walking that people have just stickered like crazy, right? And they just got all kinds of stickers on it. So I figured, what the hell?
Yeah.
I had a whole
sticker too.
I put like 1,000 of them in my backpack and I got rid of about half. So if you happen to be on the New Amsterdam and sitting on the toilet in the, and by the main dining hall and see our sticker, go ahead and scan the QR code there,
you
boss.
go. It's not a scam. Have you seen that? Have you guys seen the way
Yeah, that's stupid.
Yeah.
I keep waiting. Here's the truth. So, and Jerry, before we went to Ohio to Logan to do the Bigfoot Festival up there, I ordered what I thought was about 3,000 bumper stickers for folks. Something substantial to give out, get her name out there, whatever. What I got was 4,000 little 2-inch by 1-inch like water bottle stickers. And here I can't turn mine. I got too much stuff plugged up to it. But basically, it's just a little bitty sticker that you would put on a water bottle or a laptop or whatever. I've got mine on
Oh, yeah, mine's
laptop.
right
You
here.
got your own laptop.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, right there.
yeah. And I can't give these away fast enough because I want to order, and I guess I could just order some new ones, some big ones we start festival season next year because we're going to do a lot more festivals than just the Bigfoot Fest. There's a festival down in Tennessee we're going to go to that we're really going to try to get into, one in Lexington. We're going to do the local festival here. There's just a lot we're going to be out and about. So you'll get an opportunity to come see Jerry and myself and hopefully Brett if you can get away.
I'm planning on it.
To at least some of them.
The ones
Hopefully
closer.
all of them, but at least some of them.
We're definitely, if they'll have us back, going back to Bigfoot Fest. That was so much fun. I just can't describe how much fun that was. We went into it not knowing what was going to happen, and it just turned into a great experience. So,
Yes, it did. Exceeded all of our expectations by far.
and I don't know, you were at the very beginning of your parenting steps, if you will, with the 4 babies. Jerry and I are both empty nesters at this point, and I'm new at it. This was the most relaxing vacation I've ever had. We were amongst the youngest people on the ship, and that's not a knock. We actually planned it that way. When we decided to go on a cruise, Robin's, my wife's parents, and I went, or us and them went. So Mike and I who does and promotes our show so much through his thievery of, big jets and going all over the world, according to Jerry.
Absolutely.
When we planned this cruise, we Googled cruise lines that have the fewest children.
Yeah.
And it was one that came up. They had a great deal. We took it. But it was so relaxing. If you want to go on a cruise and rest, there's nothing better than an older clientele cruise. I won't say old person, but older clientele, because everything on the ship closes at 10:30. So you have no choice but to go back to your room and chill. And
do you remember the last vacation you took, or possibly have you ever taken a vacation with no children?
yes. Now, the one thing even when all our kids lived at home, the one thing Robin and I did was every other year we'd take a vacation.
That's right. I forgot that.
Because, and I mean this, and this is advice from an old guy to a young guy, Brett. Without you and your wife having a connection, you and your children, your parent-children connection can't be as strong.
No, yeah, because, I agree. Yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta go, even if it's just for a weekend or whatever. So yes, to answer your question, we would about every 2, and at the very latest every 3 years, we would go on a vacation or a getaway without the kids.
Yeah.
So I just feel like you have to be tight in that.
Yeah. I mean, just a trip to Walmart without kids is relaxing for us. We're like, man, this is wow. We don't have kids asking for a bunch of toys and climbing all over us.
At the same time, here's the other part here's the flip side of that now. When you blink, it'll be over.
Oh, I know. I don't. I'd rather them just stay this age.
Yeah.
I can't believe I couldn't remember you guys doing that. One of the last years that he did that, when Nick still lived at home, Nick was by himself. He asked me if I would check in on Nick,
I think I
make sure he's okay.
I remember hearing about it.
Now, when you say Nick was by himself, he was 17 at the time.
Right, he wasn't like you.
It wasn't like we left him at home and he was 10. Yeah.
And they will understand that when they a little further into my story.
Oh, no.
You don't remember the story?
I do.
The afternoon that he and Robin were going to be back, I checked on him. The idea of him telling me to check on him was to make sure he was okay and had everything he needed, wasn't getting into too much trouble. And he didn't need to worry with Nick. Nick was a good kid.
Awesome.
But he wanted someone to check. The afternoon, 2 or 3 hours before they're due to be back, I called Nick, or so I thought, and he answers, and it sounded like him. And I'm like, dude, just calling to make sure that you got all the hookers and drugs out of the house. Steve and Robin are going to be back in a couple hours. And this strange dude just cracks up and loses it. And he's like, I don't know who the hell Nick is, but it's like I need to go to Nick's house.
Who'd you call?
So, it was like, one digit wrong. If his number was 1, 2, 3, 4, I called. I did, but punching it. I didn't have it saved. I had to punch it in. I had it saved, I think, on my cell phone, but I called from the house phone, so it was one number off. And this dude and I sat and talked for 10 minutes. He was hilarious. He thought my lead-off conversation was hilarious. He was like, I just wish when I was growing up and my parents had someone checking on me, they were cool enough to call and say, make sure the hookers are out of the house.
Listen. Oh, gosh. That's crazy.
Yep.
That's crazy.
That happened to me, and then I turned around and forgot that you guys used to vacation by yourself.
Yeah, we're planning on our 10-year anniversary. We're going to go take a big trip without the kids.
Good choice.
That's kind of our plan.
How long from now is that?
Next year is 7 years. So
3 years and a few months.
Yeah.
So at least try to get a couple of weekends in. I mean, seriously, you.
The problem is there's so many of them.
Right.
We feel bad.
Well, that's why you just take a small trip, a weekend trip. It doesn't hurt anything. Get away, run around here. The big weekend trip is Gatlinburg.
Do you really think that any of the grandparents look at it as a burden?
I don't. Well, I don't think so.
I'm sure they.
No, his grandparents are awesome. Their grandparents.
They would absolutely love watching the kids and having more time than normal to spend with them.
Yeah, convincing Trilly would be the hard part.
Yeah,
it is. But
I think
the stronger you guys are together, the better and easier it is to raise the kids.
I agree. Yeah, we try and at least go on dates every now and then.
Yeah, you should.
That's important.
If I can ever help in that, don't hesitate. I can be the, what
You're offering to
Uncle
watch
Buck.
4 young kids?
I'd
Take
be-
him up
wait,
on that
wait.
one. Take him up.
I
You
could
know
be
what I
the
think?
uncle. I'd be Uncle Buck. I'm just telling you. You come home and your house might be on like timbers, but we make it happen. I will bring wine. I'm just kidding.
So,
Man, all the
Tonight?
kids are passed out in the bed. What happens? Well, it's a secret.
They drank my wine, damn it. I've been calling you.
Anyways.
So, have any of you guys? Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say sorry for interrupting.
Oh. Have you guys, and Jerry, I know you have, and Brett, you probably have not yet. But have either of y'all ever had to have the talk? Not with your kids, but with your doctor?
the talk that I have with my doctor, not him with me or her with me.
No, the other way around. With her with you.
Oh, I've had many.
Yeah, I'm about to have that Friday morning because I had my blood work done on Monday.
Okay.
Yeah, so, woo, gonna have the talk.
And it did not come back.
Finger wag of doom and all that.
I remember when I was a kid, my triglycerides were super high. It was like triple what it was supposed to be. I think it was, I can't remember what the numbers were, but it was extremely high. So I had
Eating
to,
out, man, it's the worst on
yeah.
triglycerides.
And at that
Mine's
point, I
through the
was
roof,
eating
too.
McDonald's all the time. And so I had to go on a big diet to get those down.
Yep, that's me. So anyway, we are ready to let's talk about our topic tonight. We won't get into details about why I gotta have the talk with the doc, but let's just say 8.13 is not a good number in the grand scheme of things.
For an A1C. You gotta tell them what kind of number.
Well,
For certain
anyone who
numbers, that'd be
knows,
great.
knows. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we gotta get that under control as I'm drinking a bottle of wine tonight, but it's okay. We'll figure it out. Tonight's topic is
You
fun.
can't mention that without telling them what wine.
Oh yeah, I'm just so tonight I'm drinking really cheap Oakley Vineyard wine. It's a Walmart special. Liverpool, Ripon, California.
Tropical white.
Tropical white.
I've never seen that.
If you like here's why I like this. I know. To all our major fans, it's not a sweet red. I'm sorry. But it is such a refreshing wine. I mean, just like, oh, very nice.
Yeah. That's kind of how I feel like about like Mike's Hard and stuff like that.
Yeah.
In the summer, Smirnoffs.
Can't drink that stuff anymore. Too much sugar.
It is
apparently.
real syrupy. I can't really drink them anymore either, but that's
Mm.
kind of, I think
I always
like
liked
like a
mango.
Corona. A Corona in the middle of this, like on the beach with a lime.
I like
That's
Corona.
refreshing to me.
I agree.
Dude. So real quick, back to my vacation. Had a few firsts. First time I've ever been through a hurricane. We caught the outer band of Oscar as it went up through there. We the boat thought that they could avoid it. It kind of turned in front of us. We caught the last band of it. If you've not cruised and you think, oh my gosh, it's so scary, it really isn't. The boat barely moved. By us feeling it move was it moving really big, right? The ships are so large.
Now, were you out on deck during any of it? What were the winds like?
No, the winds were strong.
I figured
It
so.
was really, in fact, most of the auxiliary doors, they just closed
I'm sure.
off. Yeah. 30, 40, 50 miles an hour. It was a tropical depression by that point. But they did their best to avoid it. They put the stabilizers out. It was nice. But after that, it was smooth sailing. So first time I'd ever done that. First time I ever had to miss a actual port of call because they actually tried to dock twice and they just it was 6-foot swells, so they couldn't do it because we were catching, like when a hurricane comes through, it agitates. It's just like it agitates everything. The water, the wind, so we missed Grand Turks. But kudos to the New Amsterdam, the captain, and Holland of America. It was a phenomenal cruise, top to bottom. The highest rated cruise I've ever done. Just loved it.
How was the
Good.
top deck? Was it worth it? Like if you were to do it again, would you
Okay.
spend the extra money?
Well, yes. And the coolest thing about being at the very tip top is even if you have a balcony below, you have a roof, and it's
Right.
the balcony above you. On this one, we didn't have a roof. So when we were going through that and we were in the room and the boat would kind of tick over just a little bit, all of the water from the top would just drain off onto, and you would just whoosh, you would hear it, and it would be like, whoa.
You would not want to be in the balcony during
No,
that.
it was a lot of fun. There's a little extra movement if you're a seasick person, which we are not typically. We take Dramamine, it's good. Go lower in the ship, but up there you felt a little. The best part of that ship, in all honesty, was an area they call the Crow's Nest. There's a bar, and it's just this big, wide open area above the bridge. So that's the view you have.
Yeah.
And there's windows everywhere, tables, and they got games and a bar. And
how's the night sky?
Just freaking gorgeous.
Really?
There's no
Can you
light
see like
pollution.
the Milky Way and stuff like that?
Yeah, there's no light pollution out there.
Yeah, I would love to do it just for that.
When you get out and the hurricane's gone and the skies are clear, dude, you can see for what would think a bazillion miles into the atmosphere.
That would be the reason why I would want the top deck.
Yeah.
Like the top.
Even if you don't get the top deck, you can walk out on deck
Right.
and find a dark spot and see just anything you want to see. It's kind of like driving through Montana.
Yeah, right. Truly was talking about driving through Montana, how it's just amazing.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. They call it Big Sky for a reason. Anyway, blah, blah, blah.
Anyways, what makes a Halloween movie? That's what I want to ask you all. I know Jerry has some opinions on.
Not really. I didn't know there was such a thing.
So here's what somebody on Instagram said.
Okay.
I don't know how reliable they are. Halloween movies are films set around the October holiday.
Well, that's pretty boring.
So that would mean that E.T. is a Halloween movie.
That's the dumbest. Are you going to die on that hill?
I'm going to die on it.
You could ask 100,000 people, and I'm betting that you and one more are all going to say that E.T. is a Halloween movie.
It was one of the first movies I thought of.
That's going to be
When I
our
was like,
poll for this show.
Let me think about Halloween, like what Halloween movies do I like? And then I immediately thought E.T.
Mine would be when you mention Halloween, I'm thinking probably number one.
Halloween?
Halloween, Friday the 13th, Psycho.
See, I think of more of like a lot of the Tim Burton movies I would count as Halloween-esque, at least. Movies I would watch during Halloween.
What's the one, A Night Before Christmas?
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
Corpse Bride, that's another one.
Isn't that a spinoff of that first one?
Mm-mm.
Oh.
It's like, it's still animated, but...
Tim Burton's a weird dude.
He is a weird dude.
I hate to walk into his mind.
Some of his stuff is pretty creepy, yeah. But
when you think Halloween, Jerry? What else? So you're thinking Halloween
the classic
something
horror,
scary?
scary movies.
and so like
Yeah,
that's
E.T. is not in that list.
Why is scary associated with Halloween?
That's just to me what you watch on Halloween.
Yeah.
I mean, forget Halloween movies. Halloween, what do you think of?
I think
Candy.
like pumpkins.
Cute little aliens, lovable aliens. That's like
that's
last
dressed
on
up
my
as
list.
a ghost for
That's
Halloween.
last on my list.
Okay, so let's we've discovered newsworthy's top 5 Halloween movies.
And we
We
did
have that
that
list.
by each of us listed our
Right.
top 5. We ranked them. Number 1 was 5 points. Number 2, 4, so on.
Yeah.
We compiled them, added them together. We come up with newsworthy's list.
Strictly horror, right?
Ooh, Sarah wants to know about Human Centipede. That was just nasty. That's a nasty movie.
I will never watch that movie.
Good.
Sounds
I
awful.
watched it. I sat through it. I'm like, what the actual F is
Would
this?
you call it a
I would
Halloween
call
movie?
it
Scary?
nasty.
Horror? But would it also fit under
Yes,
these other
it
genres?
would.
I would agree. I would agree.
Okay. So before we get into our top 5,
Okay.
I would like to cover a few. When we came up with this topic, I had a thing in mind. I want to cover a few of them. The first one, and I dug and I researched for about 5 to 6 hours on this, which I know is a long time. Yeah,
Totally agree with what you're saying.
Would any of you all think, I want to talk just a little bit about a few movies that weren't necessarily Halloween movies, but had spooky or cursed things that happened while on set. The first one that has to come up to most people's minds, and here's the thing, we talk often about politicians and conspiracies and the government. If you don't change or try to fix something or cover something up, it goes away pretty quick. But as soon as you try to change it or fix it, it becomes a big deal. This is going all the way back to Jerry's time when he was a kid. The Wizard of Oz. Jerry's like, he's not even denying it. He's just letting this roll at this point. I love it.
So part of the reason I'm letting it roll is you admitted last week that you're exactly 10 years younger than I am. So what was it look for?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So
I wasn't here last week.
You're saying I'm old as sand. You're saying that you're old as sand minus 10. So yeah, I have no problem. Go ahead.
Anyway, so right after the apple scene where they hook up with the Tin Man in Wizard of Oz, they decide to get brave and they start singing the song, "We're Off to the Wonderful Wizard of Oz." As they turn away from, they turn toward the camera and turn back and run up the yellow brick road. In the background, on the original cut, now I looked at this on both sides.
Right.
On the original cut, it very plainly to me, whether it is or not, you make up your own mind. I'm not going to tell you either way. On the original cut, I would ask you to look at the original cut, though. It very plainly to me looks like a person who has been hanged, swaying in between trees in the background. Having seen interviews with other munchkins, the rumor is that was a munchkin who had either gotten fired or was in trouble or had some mental issues that had hung himself on screen or on set. One of the munchkins that were still alive on the interview that I read said that, hey, if somebody had killed themselves, we'd have probably knew about it. It didn't happen. However, Disney, or the creators of the Wizard of Oz,
Warner Brothers, isn't it?
Warner Brothers, made sure that in all the new cuts, that's not even there.
Right.
Then before they did that, they said that was a bird that was tethered. It was either an emu or an ostrich that was tethered to give effects. It was the only bird in the whole scene.
Yeah.
Okay, so that doesn't hold a lot of water with me. I just wanted to bring that out. Watch it. Watch a new version. You won't see it at all. You'll see it. You will definitely see a bird on the newer stuff. On the original, it does not look like a bird. It looks like a hanging munchkin.
Yeah, I've seen it. It does look like somebody's hanging.
Yes, it's pretty spooky. Also, and anybody who's my age or older will remember the movie 3 Men and a Baby. You remember that movie, Jerry?
Yep.
Big hit. Ted Danson, Tom Selleck, and what was the other guy's name? Something with a G. Anyway, in this movie, there's a couple of scenes. First of all, most of the cast and crew felt like the whole set was, the house that they filmed in was really creepy. Excuse me. There was a couple of people. There was a boy that supposedly had killed himself in the home before they shot the movie. You actually see a boy in a scene where none of the actors saw him. And some of the staff say, "Oh, that was a cutout. That was a joke." But if that was a joke, why did none of the main actors say, "Hey, yeah, we saw the cutout"? There was also, in a later part of the movie, a long rifle that was not leaning against anything, that was standing on its barrel straight up and down. Pretty spooky stuff, right?
Yeah, that's weird now.
Some of the others had more things that happened to the people. Here's a creepy one about the Twilight Zone, which is a creepy movie in and of itself, right? One of the creepy stories about this film is that the actor Vic Morrow, who got killed while filming the helicopter scene, allegedly told his friends and family that he was having dreams of something bad happening to him on a movie set. Crazy, right? It convinced him so much that before he started filming this, he went out and got an additional life insurance policy on himself, only to be killed during the making of the movie.
Gosh.
Crazy, right?
Which one was it? Was this the one?
The Twilight Zone, the movie.
Which one?
Isn't
there multiple?
The original. It was the original. Vic Marrow's been gone for a long time, so it had to be.
Yeah.
So we all have heard about the Crow.
Yeah, that's another.
Right?
That's what I want to talk about.
That's another one. This movie had a sinister plot to begin with, but even more sinister is the fact that Brandon Lee, the main character in the movie, died while filming during filming. Excuse me, good gravy. Due to a prop gun accidentally firing a real bullet. As if that's not tragic enough, this death was seemingly foreshadowed by his actor dad, Bruce Lee, acting out a very similar scene where he listens to a prop master explaining prop guns and Bruce Lee's character pretending to be dead on set. That's spooky. What a coincidence.
A lot of people thought that this was like China was trying to kill. They killed Bruce Lee and then they killed Brandon Lee. I watched this guy. I guess he was like a prop master for movies, and he kind of walked through what had happened. So essentially, what it sounds like is they had a dummy bullet, but they forgot to take the primer off, and this was weeks before. So they fired it off. It went off. It did its thing. That's all fine and good. But what happens is when you don't take the primer off, is it'll get lodged into the barrel, and so he did it. And he showed like, hey, look, it's lodged in the barrel. So then when you put another dummy bullet in there, you fire it. Well, it sends that bullet that's stuck in the barrel as a projectile because the dummy bullet still has gunpowder, and it becomes a lethal weapon at that point. And so that is what they said happened on this movie was.
So, right, crazy, right? So if you're filming a movie named The Possession, that's a creepy movie in general, right? What if the main actor, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who's no slouch, who was in all the 90s movies, shared some creepy stories about the set of the 2012 horror film? He said that there were exploding lights and cold breezes in deserted corridors. And the more popularity there had been a fire during the storage facility. And the cause of the fire remains a mystery. And it was definitely not due to arson or an electrical issue. Those were ruled out. That's pretty creepy.
Have you seen all the stuff that is in this vein? All the stuff that happened on the Passion of the Christ?
Yeah, dude.
Where Jim, how do you say his last name?
Jim Caviezel.
Yeah, he got struck by lightning like multiple times, and
when you have stuff. I'm a firm believer of good and evil. Yeah. That there's a whole battle that we don't see. Okay, that happens. There is that realm to me. And sometimes that spills over.
Yeah.
And you're trying to do something that will enlighten and make people ask questions. You're going to have pushback.
Yeah. That movie's phenomenal.
Yeah, it really is. It's scary and sad. I'm pretty sure I'm not afraid. Very few movies move me.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I'm not afraid to admit that moved me to tears. Sure, it was just sad. So The Exorcist, Sarah on our Twitch feed, Twitter, well, not Twitter, Twitch, thank you. Our Twitch feed brought up The Exorcist. And I'll shut up in a minute, Jerry. You haven't said anything. I'm doing all the talking.
By all means, go ahead. Usually me doing all the
talking. Some of the creepy and tragic events that happened on the set of The Exorcist in 1973, 3 lives were lost on set, including Irish actor Jack and I'm going to butcher his name, McGowran, a crew member and security guard. The set itself burned down after a pigeon flew directly into the circuit box. Eerily enough, the only set that survived was that one of the room where Reagan McNeil and many of the scenes filmed happened. And that was the film of her actually going through the exorcism. Everything else at that point had burned down and had been replaced.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And I'll just buzz through the rest of these, man. Insidious, a little newer film. Director James Wan, he was a skeptic. Experienced quite a few scary sets while filming his movie. So much so, this movie was blessed before he ever started filming. The set was. In 2010, the cast and crew allegedly felt sick and uneasy as they filmed certain scenes, and there would be reports of noises and buzzes from unoccupied parts of the set. What movie?
Yeah.
Insidious.
Really?
Yeah. Crazy, right? How about the Conjuring? Some of the creepiest stories happen while filming the creepiest films. This is particularly true for the Conjuring universe, which follows the paranormal investigations of Ed and Lorraine Warren, which we've already talked about on this show. You should go back and listen to an earlier episode. Just saying. In the 2013 film that started the series of movies, the Warrens investigated the Perrin family, who had moved into a haunted house in the 1970s. The family actually visited the set and experienced strange phenomenon began to happen. In one instance, wind from nowhere began swirling like a mini tornado around the Perrin family. Crazy stuff. Anywho, that's what I got.
Yeah.
Some of the films that have had mysterious or creepy things happen to them while filming about strange, creepy, or mysterious stuff. You open doors, you never know what's going to walk in.
That's what I mean. I've told you before. I would never mess with the Ouija board or anything like that, just because of that reason.
Well,
If you
if
start
you need,
messing with that stuff, you're opening yourself up to.
I'm glad you bring that up, Brett, because if you listen to Encounters episode 13, we talked to Mason, who did just that. Kind of creepy. We're going to get Mason back on for a full show, I think.
Is he the one that we did?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's.
I would.
You
I would do
what?
the Ouija board.
Would
Would?
you?
I just don't believe in it. So until I saw signs, then I would be out so friggin' quick
It's
it
too
wouldn't be
late.
funny.
It's too late.
Maybe. But I mean, come on. It can't be too late. Right?
What?
How many people has it been too late for? They make this game, they sell it. And you're going to tell me that if it was really that dangerous, that a company would still be making it? How many times have they been sued? Have they ever lost? Wouldn't they have if this
Okay.
stuff was happening?
I wasn't going to bring this up, but I'm going to bring it up. In fact, I'm going to bring it up and invite whom I know listens to the show, my Aunt Becky, to come on the show.
And I'll invite you and Aunt Becky to bring the game, and I'll play it with you.
Okay, perfect. Well, it can't happen in this house. It's not allowed in this house. We're not-
Come
We'll
on
come
over
to
to my
your
house.
place.
We'll come
We'll
to
come
my
to your
house.
place and we'll play.
I will not be there.
Here's the thing.
We'll videotape it for you.
There was a time, and I won't use last names, but my Aunt Becky, my mom, a friend of theirs, Lori, was at the house, and a lot of my teenage buddies. We didn't believe in this garbage, right? It's a game. It's stupid. We lit all the candles all around the living room. We're playing the game. There's beverages, right? Drinks are pouring. And Lori gets on and I'm on. I think that's what it was. Lori and me. Or was it? No, it was Lori and me. And we're sitting there and it's doing its thing. And in my mind, Jerry, I'm just like you. She's moving it because I knew I wasn't moving. She's moving this. She's giving us some BS answers, right? And I asked the question, and this is what changed my mind about it, Jerry, 100%. As sure as I'm sitting on this stool doing this podcast with you and Brett right now, I asked the question, if you were real, give us a sign that you're here. My mom will testify to this. My Aunt Becky will testify to this. My brother Dave will testify to this. And any of the, I think my friend Melissa was there. She will testify to this. We were sitting there. I said, if you are so big and bad and powerful, give us a sign that you're really here. And Jerry, we didn't have 2 or 3. We had like 20 candles lit in the living room. Okay. Every single candle we had didn't blow out. Went down from a normal flame to just barely, just enough flame to keep them lit. Not 1 or 2. Every single one of them.
Wind gusts will do that, you know.
Not at the same exact time.
It's hard to explain that.
Dude, It
That
freaked
there was a
me.
wind gust in a room that affected all the candles.
20 candles of different shapes, sizes. You know, it wasn't
I'm just
all
saying
like
it's
tea
not-
lights.
Is it
Dude,
unusual? Yes. Is it otherworldly? No.
Oh,
For a
Absolutely.
gust of wind to
Oh,
suddenly
yeah.
happen in a room?
No, I
This
disagree
kid.
with you.
Thank you. It scared
No,
the whole week.
I would be out of that house in about 5 seconds.
So would he.
No, I
He's
wouldn't. Not at
acting
that.
badass, but he'd be like, oh, I'm
No, I
out.
wouldn't.
What the hell?
If I see
What
true
the
signs.
hell?
I'm just telling you. I'm the one offering to.
Deal, bet. If Aunt Becky's not in the best of health anymore, but if she's willing, we're making it happen, Captain.
Who
You
had
guys
the
have fun.
game?
Huh?
Who had the game?
Brother, I'll go. It's $16 at Walmart.
Yeah,
I'll
for
plunk
sure.
a 20
No,
for it.
who had bought it back then? Whose game was it?
I have no idea. No clue. I don't
That's
know
what I
where
was
we got
wondering.
it. Yeah, no idea. But I guarantee you that happens just sure as I'm sitting here. It's crazy.
Yeah,
You know the best fix. That's not the word I'm looking for, but the best solution to this problem when you're dealing with Ouija boards or anything otherworldly. And I'm sure the Catholic Church probably would say the same thing. What would the Catholic Church say that you should do if you're going to be around evil spirits?
Don't.
To protect. Well, I mean, if you have no choice to protect yourself, what should you do?
Avoid it at all.
Holy
They basically
water.
say to avoid it. I don't know.
A blessing,
Religious, yes,
a
religious
cross, a
symbols, the cross, a
crucifix,
Bible,
holy water.
Yeah.
Oh my
anything in
gosh.
that order. Would the Catholic Church not say that?
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
Let me
if-
I
just
figured
tell
they
you.
probably would.
But I mean, yeah, they basically say to just avoid it, like tarot
Sure,
cards.
but
or
what if you?
something.
What? No, I'm just talking about evil spirits. Period. What if you're in a haunted house? I'm sure they would say that the typical things you see in the movies, right? Probably comes from the church teachings, which is a blessing. Get a father to come in and the holy water, a cross, the Bible. Why do you counteract evil spirits? Good spirits, God. Which, if
Listen,
you believe the Bible, He's more powerful
Or-
than they are.
you know, I walked up on Sarah the other day, one of our good listeners, and she was boiling a pot of water. I'm like, what are you doing? She goes, I'm making holy water. I'm like, what do you mean you're making holy water? She says, I'm boiling the hell out of it.
I can't believe you're dragging poor Sarah into this.
That's pretty good.
By the way, she had another good movie recommendation that we had totally missed.
Oh, don't say that.
We did.
Which,
The Omen.
yeah, the Omen was good.
The Omen was excellent.
I do like the Omen.
That was
Well,
scary.
I tell you, I don't. Is there multiple Omens?
Yes.
Yeah, I've
What
seen the
about-
newest one.
The one that Russell Crowe just did wasn't bad either, where he played the head exorcist from the Catholic Church. Very good movie, very real.
I haven't
very
saw
based on-
the previews for it or
Good
something.
movie.
But I
I
haven't saw the
forget what
movie.
it was called, Father or something. I don't remember, but it was good.
And that's real new, right?
Yeah, good stuff. So, what do you think? Back to your original question, Brett. Jerry, what makes a Halloween movie to you?
Scary horror movies. Not E.T., not a lovable
Not
little.
freaking E.T.
That
I mean,
takes place during Halloween.
That is the antithesis to me. And again, it's everyone has their own interpretation. I'm not saying you're wrong and I'm right.
No,
I'm
I'll
just saying
say
to
it.
me-
You're wrong and we're right.
Well, I would say like Nightmare Before Christmas. I think that's a Halloween movie.
I
I would
agree.
agree. 100%.
It's not. I wouldn't say it's scary.
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
Oogie
it's
Boogie
creepy.
is awesome.
It's
My
creepy,
favorite.
but like, I wouldn't say it's scary.
It's supposed to be.
If you were your oldest daughter's age and watched Nightmare
love-
Before Christmas,
Oh, okay, not her. They love it.
yeah,
they love
Oogie
it.
Boogie is a bit scary, right?
They like it though. I don't. They don't get scared.
Well, they're your children, so
By the way, for those wondering,
they're not perfect like your wife. They're more. They got some of you in there.
The Russell Crowe film, where he is the head exorcist, is called The Exorcism.
There you go.
That's the name of the movie from this year, 2024.
Good movie. I watched it. I
haven't,
feast
but I will.
upon movies that deal in, believe it or not, Catholic, because they are the most of all the religions. They're the one that deal with that the most. It seems.
I had a priest who was an exorcist for a little bit. He said that one of the, I guess, just media that got it the closest was Supernatural. He said he doesn't know how, but like 75% of what they put in there is right.
Well, if
is what they would do.
75% is right, I can tell you how. They went and hired some people who either were in the church or very, very familiar with the church. You don't accidentally end up 75%
He
dead
said a
on.
lot of the stuff that they did for exorcisms was what
Yeah.
they would actually do.
They had to hire some people that,
But Supernatural is phenomenal. if
I
you haven't
agree.
seen it. Like, the first
Absolutely.
5 seasons is like one story, and it's scary as shit.
Yes.
So even
Then
though
they
it,
run out and go
Right,
on to
and then
other
they
stuff.
just kind of go all over the place. But
even though it doesn't matter because your opinions are stupid in this case, E.T., what do you think makes a great horror, Halloween movie?
I think it deals with like those kind of because I would say Hotel Transylvania is a Halloween
I would too.
movie, and that's not scary at all.
But it's
It
supposed to
has
be.
like no,
It
it's
tries
like a
to be
comedy.
in kind of a
No. It's got
funny
Adam
way.
Sandler as
I agree.
as Dracula.
It's got some comedy mixed in with it.
I think if you have like the Halloween type monsters in it, like stuff like that, I think it would be. And it has
But can
something
you
to do with
seriously
Halloween
mention
dressing.
monsters and then turn around and say it's not scary at all?
It's not.
I guess.
So
I wouldn't say that's scary at all. But I mean, like we were talking about, like this horror movie, like Zombieland. I wouldn't even consider that a horror movie.
Well,
It's
I asked
more
the
of a comedy.
question, and the first thing that come to mind is Monsters Inc. Monsters don't have to be scary. Goes
See, I
along with what you
wouldn't
think.
consider Monsters Inc.
No,
a
I
horror
agree.
movie.
But I asked, can you have monsters in a movie and say it's not scary? And immediately in my mind, I thought of Monsters Inc. Thought, yes, you can.
I actually was. I remember as a kid, I was scared of Monsters Inc. Like I was scared of Rambo.
Monsters Inc.
Yeah, it scared. I love
Were you
Monsters
really?
Inc. But it scared me at some points. Yeah.
like I said, your opinions on this topic doesn't matter.
I just don't know if I don't think every horror movie is going to be a Halloween movie. Does that make sense?
Right.
But to be honest with you, until tonight when you asked the question, I don't think I'd ever heard the phrase Halloween movie.
Yeah.
I typically watched horror scary movies at Halloween, but I never even thought about the phrase Halloween movie.
And I think that's just like I was saying before. I think Harry Potter is a movie that I like to watch during Halloween, and it's not necessarily a Halloween movie, but it's just a movie that has
Magic
Halloween
and
vibes.
potions
Yeah,
and, yes, all that stuff. I get it. Steve, you've asked us, what's your definition?
Well, I feel like it has to. The whole season is about ghosts and goblins and witches and being something that you're not on a daily basis. Maybe you know what I'm saying. We get dressed in costumes and we do things that we don't. We go around to strangers' house and ask for candy. Obviously, we don't, but children do. That's what we've taught them.
Have you guys looked into like where Halloween even got started?
It was a Celtic tradition originally, but I didn't want to get into the origins of Halloween. We had
The idea was
before this show. We had 3 different topics, and I was like,
Right, because
That's
originally
been
it was
so
the
done.
origin of
and then it was like, oh, well, we'll do this, and then I looked, and that was like stupid. So now we're here with what we got. So
you were talking about the origins. Sorry, go ahead.
No. Go. I was just gonna say sorry for interrupting.
You were talking about the origins. So many people think of it, and it's often called the devil's holiday, right?
yeah,
Many people think my father was a Baptist minister. We weren't allowed to celebrate Halloween because to him it was bad stuff. It was the devil. It was bad stuff. The origins of Halloween were people who didn't really understand it, but were trying to do whatever they could to keep those bad things away at
Right.
bay. So they had this festival intended to celebrate the good and keep the bad stuff away. There was nothing anti-religious about its original origins at all. Exactly the
Well,
opposite.
so in the Catholic Church, it's All Hallows Eve. That's where we get the name Halloween, and it's basically to remember those who have passed, and specifically saints. And so that like the dressing up part was to remember some of the saints or the people who passed. We would dress up as those saints, and then that kind of evolved into what it is now, where we're
So, in both of those definitions, where does it come that women wear fishnet and wear as few clothes as possible?
it just is it's like Santa Claus.
Been
Right.
secularized
Wait, what?
to such an extent.
I mean,
Santa
I'm
Claus
saying-
wearing fishnet?
No, I'm just saying like
He's saying it's secular. It's
secularized.
nothing
Yeah.
Gotcha.
according to its original
Yeah.
meaning, its original
We
beginnings.
Americanized it,
No,
basically.
no, it goes way back before America. It's just been secularized throughout the world.
Gotcha.
What, is America largely at fault? Yes, but we're not near the only one.
Well,
With Halloween or
we
Christmas.
do a thing that makes money and the world follows, basically. And Halloween's no different.
We were talking about Halloween movies. You guys have definitely not. I bet $100 neither one of you seen this, but a movie called Coco.
No.
It's a Pixar movie.
Oh,
You
yes,
don't
yes,
like
I
animation.
have. Yes, I have.
Oh, you have? So
What the
that's
hell's wrong with you people?
Day of the Dead. That's
Yeah.
literally that's all Hallows Eve.
Oh, I did see that. That's what the old
Where he
guy
goes
was-
into
yeah.
the
Yeah.
that's literally
I see the tie-in. At first, I was wondering, where's your
that's
tie-in to
all
Halloween?
Hallows Eve.
Yeah.
So
The Day of the Dead. That's what that is.
here's what I got. Here's what I want
Or
to
All
ask.
Hallows Day. Sorry.
Never mind. Mine went blank.
Sorry,
That's okay.
I ruined it.
Till you think of it. Brett? I think you have a specific or maybe 2 or 3 movies you want to tell us about, do you not?
I did. I think we already kind of talked about it. I wanted to talk about E.T. and how it is a Halloween movie.
Go ahead. Don't let Steve and I
Don't let
steal
us
your thunder.
let us make you look like
One.
an idiot. Oh.
One is
Okay.
it takes place during Halloween, which I think is a big check. Like we were talking about.
Don't bring it up. I will tell you live on this show. Don't bring it up.
What do you mean?
You know what I'm gonna say. Go ahead. I'll go ahead and tell you, but don't
Die
tell
Hard
me.
is
Shut your
takes place
whore
during
mouth.
Christmas. Otherwise, it's not a Christmas movie.
100%
You know what's
agree.
coming.
100%. Otherwise, there's no way you could call it a Christmas movie if it didn't happen in that time period. Because if it didn't happen in that time period, there would be no trees, no mention of Christmas, nothing. Without that, it would never once be thought of as a
So
Christmas
E.T.
movie.
is a Halloween movie.
No, it's not.
One, and another reason, it is somewhat scary in the beginning.
Oh, shit. I broke it.
Uh-oh.
He's dragging the soundboard off.
Testing. Do we still have audio?
We do somewhere.
Somewhere. All right, where was that? Oh yeah, so it takes place during Halloween. It's got aliens, which I would say is somewhat. Is it?
I lost my headphones, but he got it back.
Oh, okay.
He's messing with the soundboard over here.
Yeah, I can still hear it in mine.
Go ahead.
Anyways, the fact that it's got aliens, you get kind of like that scary beginning where Elliot goes outside and he like hears the rustling. He's like, "What the heck is that?" And then I just think it's a great movie.
See, I'm pretty sure that you're the only one that
You
even
give-
knows.
You give an alien human emotions, like he is homesick. He's kind of adorable the way he acts.
Not kind of very.
He
He's
gets
lovable.
drunk on
He's
beer
adorable.
that one time. That's hilarious.
And that's Halloween how?
They when they're going trick or treating, he like sees the Yoda and he's like, home. I think that's freaking hilarious. Like,
To give you an idea of how different opinions can be of Halloween, what is Halloween movies, one of our listeners, Sarah, says that the original purpose of Halloween was to trick virgins to be sacrificed. Never heard her thought that. She's saying Google it, so apparently she's pretty confident with her answer. Not saying she's wrong, just saying I
I've
hadn't
never
heard
heard
of it.
that either. Yeah.
So much of what we're talking about when we're trying to define it comes down to for a movie to be scary, not to be Halloweeny, because that will depend upon your definition of what is a Halloween movie. But for a movie to be scary, it's got to be relatable. And that means it's going to be different for different people.
That's a good
What
point,
I
yeah.
relate to isn't necessarily what you relate to. I'll get into that more on a personal level later on with what I relate to and then what my daughter related to. But to me, that's one of the biggest things for a movie to be scary. It's got to be personally relatable to you.
See,
Well, and that's one of the, not to throw shade or throw a hint, but one of the movies on our top 5 is just because of that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
like when I think of relatable, scary movies, we talked about this a little bit before, but I'm more of a thriller person, not necessarily a horror gore person. But Prisoners, it comes to mind because basically it's got Jake Gyllenhaal, Hugh Jackman, phenomenal movie. It's even got the dude that plays the Riddler in the new Batman movie.
Yep.
But basically his kids get kidnapped, and the whole movie is him and
Sorry.
All right, then.
Hugh Jackman, it's his kids, and Jake Gyllenhaal's the cop, and that to me that is terrifying because
What was the
I have
movie?
kids, Prisoners. It's a phenomenal movie.
Kind of going along with what you're saying, to me, the psychological part of a thriller is far bigger, far better than the actual horror, the blood and guts,
Right.
the gore. Saw, to me, a lot of the Saws are just gore to be gore.
Right. I agree with you on that one. Yeah.
Especially after the first one.
I would agree, which is true with most movie series.
They just
They,
kinda-
they start good and it's a big success. And
One of the
how can we
movies
make
that-
more of these?
One of the movies that didn't make the list, Scream, and
Yep.
it was unfortunate. Or even what was the movie?
See, Scream is not scary to me.
Right, I agree. But what was the movie about? Oh, man, about missing death and death coming back to catch you. Oh gosh, what was it? The first one I think happened on an airplane. The airplane crashed.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
what
you
is
know
it?
what I'm talking about? And
Oh my gosh, what is that movie called? There's like a bunch of them.
Yeah. And then the second
Final
one,
Destination.
Final Destination. That was the same way. It was like, oh, this is, oh, yeah. That was a great description, right? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, I think that, if we're just talking about scary, because I don't think Halloween's scary.
I don't either. I think we've dumbed it down to the point it's just a fun, let's try to get as skimpy and as, for the kids, it's a great time. And here's an example. When we were growing up, Jerry, it was you probably couldn't, unfortunately, because you only got to celebrate a couple of years, but going down the street to all the different houses, to strangers' houses, to get them to give you candy that you got to eat.
That was a magical holiday
Yeah.
in and of itself. Just that fact alone.
My grandma, God love her soul, my grandma spoiled me huge. But she would, I'd go, and if I wasn't gone long enough, she'd make my mom take me back out for another street or two.
Yep.
But she would take all my candy and she would sit there and she'd dump it out on the table, kitchen table. I'll never forget, one of my best memories. And she would look at every piece to make sure there wasn't no holes in the packaging. One or two people said, oh, we put needles in it or we put a razor. She would sit there and look at every piece, whether I'd eat this nasty, First of all, before Halloween, let me put out this PSA. If you give away the candy in the black or orange wrapper, you
The taffy.
are going to turn into a toad and stub your toe at least 6 times next year.
Let's talk about that for a second. Have you seen the prices of candy?
I
Yes.
understand.
It has gotten
$30 for a
stupid.
bag?
If you can't afford it, just turn your light out. Don't give away the black and gold.
It's like caramel, isn't it?
It's taffy.
It's gross, is what it is.
It's not good.
You don't
at
like
all.
taffy?
I don't
not
like
this.
that taffy.
I
It's
don't remember-
disgusting.
I don't really remember what those taste like, but
It's not.
I mean,
good.
I'm not saying you got
I
to
know
give
what you're
away
talking
full candy bars. Those are the
I agree with Steve.
storehouses.
When I was 5, 6, 7, I hated this stuff.
Yeah,
When 5, 6, 7-year-olds hate a particular type of
candy?
candy, there's a
Yeah.
reason.
right. And candy is stupid expensive. Stupid expensive.
Stupid.
But here's the thing. My grandma, she would take all this candy. She would just sit there and look at every single piece. It doesn't matter if I had 8 bags worth of it. She would look at every piece. And she'd put it up in this cabinet that I couldn't reach. And every day, I'd come home from school. She'd say, what you want? And she'd give me some candy. I'd be happy. And what she didn't realize is that in the middle of the night, Steve wasn't stupid. Just because I couldn't reach it didn't mean I can't get a chair and reach it. I'd eat the shit out of some candy, right? But it was just, for me, it was about the love of her. And I don't know why a stupid kid thinks about it. And at the time, I didn't. But
Right, I was about to say,
now,
I'm surprised as a kid you would even think.
no, I wouldn't. But the time she took to go through every single piece of candy, just look it over before putting it in the good pile.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's
I
funny
love
that you
that.
say that you got to. My kids do, or Leia does the exact same thing.
What?
she'll like we put our candy at the top
Oh
of
yeah.
it, and she'll like get it, and I mean she'll come and ask us if she can have it, but she'll like get it
Oh
first.
hell no! I'd be up in the middle. Cause see, my grandma's room was on the other side of the house from the kitchen. I was good. I got up in there. Nobody even knew it.
Well, no offense, but I hope she makes better decisions than you do.
Who, Leia? Me too,
I
brother.
hope
I pray she makes better decisions than I did. Shoot.
if she does, I'm
locking
her in
listen,
her room.
I love how my life turned out.
No,
and
for sure.
I would never turn anything different. But my daughter was born when I was 15. That makes for a hard life in the beginning.
I didn't bring that up, but earlier when I said, do you remember the last time you took a vacation without a kid, or did it ever happen?
Yeah.
I didn't want to bring it up, but I knew you started young.
Dude,
That's why I thought, and I forgot you and Rob been doing it without the kids every other year.
this is, in all fairness, I'm 49. This is my first, and Robin's obviously, but this is my first year without a child in my house full time.
Yeah.
You know, even when Nick was older and gone, we had foster kids.
Right.
So it was like, this is so bizarre. And it's a whole, having kids is a learning curve. Not having kids, I would say, is an equal learning curve when you have had them your entire life.
But I'm sure it like with you and Rob, I'm sure it changes your relationship dynamic too. Like
Absolutely.
because you don't really, because I know for like me and Truly, a lot of what we do is based around our kids
Yes.
now. And so when the kids are gone, just trying to rethink like, okay, well, what do we do as a couple now? You know?
Sorry, that was funny. Sarah sent us a picture of her balls.
Don't leave it at that.
Respond to that.
Shut up, Siri.
She thought you said Siri.
Okay, so we're running short on time. This has been a great episode. I'm so happy to be back. Got a bunch. And before we get to our top five, let me just throw this out there. We got hopefully a bunch of great interviews coming up. We went through the list today. If you listen to us on Twitch, you get to see about 30, 40 minutes of pre-show where we do all the real work. And we've decided who we're going to interview. We had several interviews through it. An awesome opportunity. We appreciate everyone reaching out for that. Got a lot of great shows coming up in the future. With no further ado, Jerry, you have the list over there, brother.
I do, but before,
Yeah.
one thing I want to mention quickly. I briefly mentioned it earlier about how scary movies have to be relatable.
Yeah.
I'd also mentioned earlier, before I think we were on Twitch, about how my wife and I had never kept our kids from watching scary movies. We tried to look at them and judge from their responses. And when my daughter was very little, 1.5, 2 years old, we first began to talk about it, and we decided to wait and see how she reacted and to make sure she was okay, because knowing that she might feel like she was saying no to a family thing, I would tell her I was scared of scary movies. And I would ask her if she wanted to go play in her room, just trying to give her an easy out to get out. She wasn't having any part of that.
I know
Again,
your daughter, and I know that she's got a will of steel, brother. You'd
There
have to
was no
force
turning
out.
her down.
Yeah.
Child's Play, a lot of the movies we've mentioned, she watched. And I had told her so many times, I'm a little scared of these movies. Do you not want to watch it? She really thought that I was afraid. At the time, my wife and my stepson would always watch the movie on the couch. My daughter and I would be in the recliner. My little daughter would stand up, put her grubby little fingers over my eyes and say, Uno watch, Uno watch. She thought I was scared of the movies. And I had to watch movies like this
That's adorable.
from the time she was 2, 3, 4 on until Kevin Bacon movie, Hollow Man.
Oh, that was such a scary freaking flick.
Because it was something, it probably goes back to what every little kid fears, shadows, when they go to bed and they're sleeping and there's shadows moving in the room or whatever. Made her begin to wonder, how do I know? Is there any way to know? Because with Hollow Man, you couldn't tell. He
Right.
was hollow. You could see through him.
Scary freaking movie.
That ended it.
I'm glad.
My
I
daughter
never,
was 8 or 9. You never saw it?
no.
That was
It's
it.
really
As a-
spooky.
I mean, as a kid, I was scared of shadows, and so like
Every kid is to
I
some
would have
degree.
been, yeah.
Guys, that was the end of it. My
Yeah.
little daughter, who'd never been afraid of any, quit. She's 31 years old. She refuses, and for the last 20 years, has not watched any scary horror movies. It's got to be relatable, is my
Right.
point.
Yeah.
For her, the movie Hollow Man was relatable.
So before we get to the top 5, let's give some honorable mentions. First of all, let's give a disclaimer. These are our top 5.
Right.
Everybody's top 5
And
is going
this
to be
whole
different.
subject was kind of last minute.
Yep.
As Sarah and has mentioned, we forgot some.
Yeah.
It's not a real good list, even of our
And
own.
I'm kind of tainting the score because I'm not a big horror fan, like I've said before. So a lot of the movies that I picked were not typical horror.
But
classics,
anyway,
but-
Steve, back to honorable mentions.
First of all, let's discount what we didn't count. We didn't count shows in which
TV shows, yes.
Outer
ruled those
Stranger Things would have
Yeah,
been
Stranger
on there.
Things would have been number
Walking
one,
Dead would have been in
Walking
there.
Dead.
There's several shows that would have been in there that we didn't count.
Supernatural, which is number one we didn't even talk
Yeah.
about. But
Yeah. We only counted movies. We didn't necessarily dictate that it had to be gore or scary and the whole, it didn't have to fall in. If it scared us, we put it in the list. If it gave us a thrill, if it gave us if we thought it was a Halloween movie, we put it on a list. You may or may not like it. That's okay. You make your own list and share it with us on Newsworthy with Steve and Jerry at gmail.com. We
That's
would
it.
love to hear your list of scary movies.
And what phone number? Can you text
I
us
have
that?
no clue what our phone number is.
yeah.
Area code 540-709-1318.
Send us a text with your 5 list. That's okay
Absolutely.
too. You can find us at Twitter. You can find us on Twitch. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on all the things. Let us know your favorite scary movie. And without further ado, Jerry, I'm going to give a drum roll. You give us number 5, and we'll talk about it.
Well, let's do a couple more of the honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions. Yes, let's do.
Yeah, you said the TV shows, but some other honorable mentions.
Child's Play. Honorable
Very good
mention.
one.
Good
Very good
movie,
one.
scary, kind of took Annabelle and ran with it.
Annabelle itself.
Yeah.
Is an honorable
Annabelle is a
mention.
movie. Anything Alfred Hitchcock, honorable
Yeah.
mention. One of the original scary. Stephen King, whose politics I hate, but his horror I love.
He's
I
very good
love.
at it. Yeah, we
Man's
didn't have
got a
any of
twisted
his.
mind. Now, here's the thing about Stephen King. I hate most of his movies. I freaking love reading his books.
See, I've heard like Dark Tower. I saw that movie. It was complete trash.
So's the books.
He had
Really?
a couple of really good movies, I thought. Salem's Lot, I thought, was good. Firestarter was good. Cujo was good.
The best movie. And
The
I've
Stand.
read most of his books. Oh,
The Stand was a miniseries.
my
not a movie.
favorite book by anybody pretty much is The Stand. I
Stand
love
is
The Stand.
awesome.
Um,
Book and movie was good too.
I didn't watch the movie. So the best adaptation of movie to book for Stephen King, in my opinion, is Needful Things.
Oh, that was very good.
Almost
I love the book.
verbatim from the freaking book.
Yeah.
Delicious movie. Love Stephen King. What's an honorable mention for you? Oh, nobody cares. What's an honorable mention of you?
If he wants
He's gonna say-
ET
he's
on
gonna
there-
say-
T.
He's going to say Fraggle Rock. I don't know.
again, it's got to be
See, that's the
relatable.
thing. It's like I wouldn't even. So we were talking about. To me, like horror and Halloween doesn't necessarily have to be the same
Agreed.
because, like, some of these movies, at least 2 of the movies in the top 5, I would not count as Halloween.
And the
I would
number
count
one
as-
movie all time, according to the one site that you looked at,
Right,
Rotten Tomatoes.
Jaws.
is Jaws. And I'm like, that's not a horror movie.
It is.
I
How
don't
can you
think
say that's not
It-
horror?
When you think about it, it is
Not
but you wouldn't-
Halloween, but horror.
Right, and so that's
One of
why
mine.
it doesn't really. They don't always line up. Like there's 2 movies on here where I wouldn't count them as on our top 5. I wouldn't count them as Halloween movies. Would you agree?
Probably. Yeah. I absolutely
There's two
would.
at least that I can think of right
Absolutely
now
would.
that I would not count as Halloween.
Yeah. But again, we talked earlier about it being relatable, so we may not agree with Brett and his ET, but it's his vote is just as valid as mine and yours. Any others you want to add to the list?
So
For honorable
Jaws.
mention?
Did you mention Jaws?
No.
Oh, we
You
just
did.
did. Yeah.
So Jaws is the highest ranked, according to Rotten Tomatoes, horror movie made. I was actually in the womb when it was released. So I didn't see it, but my mom said it was scary as shit.
You've never watched Jaws ever?
You've never seen it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure, but it was at a point that it was so like...
You need to watch Jaws.
Yeah.
You need to watch
No,
it.
you do.
No, I have watched it. What I'm saying
sure?
is it was like...
A minute ago you said, yeah, probably. So you
Yeah,
didn't
you
even
just said
sound
you
sure.
probably-
I know
Yeah.
I've seen parts of it at the very
Why?
least.
You
Watch
gotta
the
sit
whole
down
thing.
and watch the whole thing. It's one of the best movies
I
of
don't
all
think
time.
you would be questioning whether or not it's a horror movie if you had saw the whole thing.
Oh my gosh, it's terrifying.
It might not be
First
your
of
top.
all, you're talking to a guy who likes to go in the
people
ocean,
get eaten.
likes to go on cruises.
You won't for a while.
I don't want to see things that... I got pictures. Okay, so real funny story real quick. So the last 2 times I've went in the ocean without water shoes, stubbed my toe on coral, bled like a stuck pig, stopped it. The second time I went in the ocean with no water shoes, stepped on a sea urchin.
Are you serious?
Kid you not.
Where? What ocean were you in?
Down in the Gulf.
Really?
Yeah.
I've
So-
never stepped on anything.
So I have pictures, and I'll show them to you after the show, of a wonderful sea urchin. Like a whole, like in the coral where we were near, the reef that we were near was just full of sea urchins.
Where were you near a reef? In the Gulf?
Down there in the Bahamas. It was artificial reefs.
Oh,
Yeah.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anywho, so honorable mentions, anything Alfred Hitchcock, Jaws,
It depends on what list are we saying Halloween movies or horror? That's the thing. It's like
See,
we
I
talked
don't
about
see a big difference.
Gremlins.
I don't
between the
either.
two.
we talked about Gremlins. Like you said that.
Halloween is definitely on the list.
Yeah.
Jason, Friday the 13th has got to be on the list.
Psycho. Would have to
Psycho.
be on the list.
Psycho, I think that's by Hitchcock, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so it's on the list already. One of my favorite scenes in theater, in movies ever, is when he's talking to the lady and she's getting ice out of the machine, and she's looking at him and not looking in the ice machine because there's a hand sticking out with blood all over her ice. Anywho,
I have a couple to add to it.
okay.
And actually,
please.
both are from Sarah. The Omen.
The Omen,
See,
definitely. on the list.
I enjoyed The Omen a lot.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good
She
time.
mentioned a Stephen King movie that she said messed her up as a kid that we didn't mention.
What's
of all
that?
of our scary Stephen Kings, one of the all-time great Stephen King's, Pet Cemetery.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta be.
Children of the Corn.
It
Chili
is,
Corn was good.
Is it a Stephen King?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that
was very good.
would screw me up if I would watch that as a kid.
Yeah, there's a lot. So our top 5, just so everybody knows, did not cover a lot of what
Yeah.
you may think. But it's movies that impacted us.
We come up with the idea for a top 5 about 20, 30 minutes before time for show.
You're
So
like
it's not like
scrolling
we put
through.
a lot of thought into it, okay?
All right.
Without further ado.
Oh, let me give the drum roll,
Okay.
Jerry. Drum roll. Maybe. Oh, wait. Got to the button.
Okay.
Oops, wrong drum roll. Hang on.
Should've done that
Here we
before
go.
that, too.
It's going to be very anticlimactic by the time we actually get there.
Number 5.
Number 5, Silence of the Lambs.
Wonderful movie. One of my
Great horror movie. I would not call it a Halloween movie at all.
I wouldn't either.
Although
but
I
one
do
of
think it's
my
close.
absolute favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
My top 5 movies always kind of shifts around, so it's more like a top 10, but I count it as a top 5. Silence of the Lambs is absolutely in that list, and that wasn't even my pick. Just so y'all know,
So you would
That
put
was
it in
mine.
top 5 all time.
all time.
And it didn't
Love,
make your list?
huh?
And it didn't make your
Because
list?
I don't think it's a Halloween movie. I think it's more a thriller.
See, that's what I was confused with the list.
Yeah.
Was it Halloween or was it horror? Or both?
Here's how I think about my top 5. If I'm in the middle of cleaning the house, shaving a dog, washing my butt, and cooking dinner and a movie comes on and I have to stop all of that to watch it, it's in the top 5. You know,
Well, I can say that for
Tombstone
a
is
lot
in
of
that
them.
movie.
I love it.
There's not a time that
I wouldn't say
Tombstone's
that
on
it's-
that I don't stop watching.
It's probably not even top 20 for me, but I do like Tombstone. That's a good
Yeah,
movie.
love it. All right. Number
Hold on
4. Oh,
Just
that was
one
so anticlimactic.
Very much so.
Are you ready?
No.
What are you doing?
A minute ago, for the umpteenth
was
time, you
lotion
mentioned
in the
Halloween
basket.
movies. And I keep thinking, where did this come from? That's not what we originally said. Your original movie, your original text of what we're going to discuss said, okay, decided I hate this topic as well. How about haunted movies? Not Halloween. So
See, I was confused as well because then he talks
why
about
didn't
the
you
Wizard of
say
Oz stuff,
something?
and I was like, oh, okay, so like we want some movies that have some weird stuff that goes on in the actual filming of it, and so that's what I was like.
That's
okay,
what
well,
I meant.
you responded by asking about Halloween movies, but he originally, his thing, and I'm sitting here tonight going, did I miss something? And I had to go back and read the original text. Sorry to screw
All
it
right.
up.
Number 5, as a recap, Silence of the Lambs. Number 4.
Alien. I didn't know you could do it for
I'm
everyone.
going to do it for everyone.
Tell me that.
Alien.
spoilers.
Alien.
Spoiler alert. Tell us about Alien, Jerry.
I'll let Brett, it was his pick. Brett,
Oh.
tell us about
It's got John Hurt, Sigourney Weaver, phenomenal movie. Some more see, I wouldn't consider this a Halloween movie.
I wouldn't either.
Sci-fi.
I would not.
But
Horror
it scares
movie.
you.
Horror
It
Very
affects
much a
you.
horror.
Yeah, I think it's a great movie.
Worst
Great film.
description of a movie ever.
I like Brett's definition earlier of Halloween movie when he said it's a movie I would watch because of it's Halloween time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
This is not one I would think of.
no,
Yeah, me
not
neither.
at all. Not even close.
Neither
You
would
know-
Silence of the Lambs.
Here's the truth. I haven't watched it.
Really?
I haven't watched an Alien. I saw bits and pieces and I'm like, okay, I know what aliens are. However, I never watched an alien movie until it was AVP. Aliens vs.
Oh,
I've
Predator.
seen
dude, you
that.
need to
Because
go
I
back and watch it.
love the Predator series.
Yeah.
Love it.
I've seen Alien vs Predator. I think I like Alien, but I've only seen the first Alien. So,
Not
and
the
I've seen-
second.
No.
I
And
actually
I've
like
seen Alien
second
vs.
better
Predator.
than number one.
All right. Now, Jerry, I'm going to do a drum roll. Here's so Silence of the Lambs, number 5. Aliens, number 4.
No, Alien.
Alien, number 4.
Number 3, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And to give us a reason why for that one, Mr. Steve, tell us how it's relatable to you.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, by far, to me, as a child, the sound of the chainsaw scared the absolute bejesus out of
Tell
me.
the story
First
you
of all,
told us.
So I was a Cub Scout at the time, was staying at a friend's house who was staying at a cousin's house during a scout. There was like 10 guys there, okay? And we, the adults, were watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The rest of us were in there playing freaking Monopoly or some stupid stuff, right? And we hear screams, and we hear a chainsaw fire up, and all of us go in there, and I stay close to the door, and I see Leatherface for the first time. And we're not talking about the new ones. I'm talking about the original, terribly filmed, dark. It scared me to freaking death. I didn't watch this movie in its entirety till I was over 20. I kid you not, scared the holy poop right out of me.
I think there was a newer one when I was a kid that came out.
Yes.
That I've still never seen any of them. But I remember going to back then we had like a Blockbuster type thing. I remember going there and seeing the cover of the movie. And
Yeah.
it scared the absolute shit out of
That's
me.
so right.
Like just seeing the dude's face, it's like I did not want to watch that movie.
And that movie was loosely, and I'm using air quotes, based on Ed Gein, who we've covered on the podcast. But the simple fact that oh my gosh, he made his face out of other people's skin. Creepy as junk. I to this day, I hear a chainsaw. Unless I'm operating it, I'm like, okay, I hope they're cutting up wood. I'm just saying, even the newer adaptations were okay, but the first one, dude, it gets me down here. It's like, ooh. All right. So there's a tie for number one. So
there is
number
no
one
number
and
two.
two. There is no number two here. So drum roll. Any other thing on Texas Chainsaw? So Silence of the Lambs, number 5. Alien, number 4. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, number 3. And
Tied for number 1, World War Z and A Nightmare on Elm Street.
So Nightmare on Elm Street is the only one that I would consider a Halloween movie.
There's two. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, possibly.
Maybe.
But yes, A Nightmare on Elm Street is one of the historically absolute,
such
masterpieces.
A freaking good movie. I mean, and we're talking about Wes Craven's original.
Right.
Where, they get a little ridiculous as they go along, like all of them do.
They do.
How many times and how many ways can you kill Jason? Which is why Friday the 13th isn't on the list. But the original Friday the 13th was it was so different for the time period.
It was.
Where we had Jason and Michael Myers, who were just haunting creatures who stood around and killed people. Freddy Krueger was witty, was smartass, was sarcastic, was thought about different ways of doing what he was doing. The original story actually had some cohesion.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to say, and I have to say right now, that when and I don't remember which one it was, first or second or maybe third, when the little girl's looking up at the TV and he comes out and he grabs her and pulls her in and says, "Welcome to prime time, bitch." That, to me, that was it. That was amazing, well written. What do you think, Brett?
Yeah, so we talked about both. I think both of us had World War Z on the list, and I got that idea from you. But I would 100% agree as far as relatable goes. That could actually happen. And
you're
those
talking about
zombies,
World War Z.
Yeah. So those zombies are not just like the ones in Walking Dead where they're like, slowly walking. They're freaking piling up that big wall and like
in Israel, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Dude.
So World War Z to me, just to switch gears from the other, World War Z is the ultimate, oh shit, this can really happen movie. If that happens. And, a lot of people discount this movie because Brad Pitt's in it. Brad Pitt was awesome in this. Yeah. I mean, anytime you get a superstar in a movie, a lot of times people just discount it because I ain't watching that because it's him.
Oh, see, I love Brad Pitt.
What superstar was in A Nightmare on Elm Street?
I have no idea.
Superstar.
None.
And it was his film debut.
Who?
First movie ever.
I have no idea.
I don't either.
Johnny Depp.
Oh,
No
really?
way.
I didn't know that.
Johnny Depp.
Wow.
How old was he then?
Young.
Yeah, he's super young.
Wow.
Johnny Depp's original movie.
Interesting.
What did he play?
I don't even
Was
know.
he just like
He was even on the movie posters. He was pretty
Really?
big in the film. He just had that young boyish look. It looks nothing like him now. Back to what you guys were saying, I agree. But to me, that was true with A Nightmare on Elm Street. It could really happen.
Really?
Have you never
Ouija boards
had a
are
dream?
bogus.
Have you never had a dream that when you wake up, it just seems so real that you're half
dude.
waking? That's this freaking movie.
That's true. I
That's
get
this
that.
movie.
I've had dreams.
Only
like that.
it was real. What happened in the movie happened in real life. So if he could kill you in the movie, you die.
So here, speaking of that, one of my honorable mentions on this list actually had a rap song about Nightmare on Elm Street, Will Smith, and I Legend.
I Am Legend. Yeah.
That was
That's a scary
scary
one, too.
freaking
Good movie.
jump scare movie.
Yeah, you get some jump scares in there
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah. Yeah, and that's another one that's kind of like we were like, oh, zombies are kind of bogus, but I mean, honestly, when COVID was coming out, like when you think of pandemic, it's like something that was made in a lab that could mess with your mind. I mean, you lost your taste and smell. Like
most people who if you look up pandemics that can affect the entire human population and your name's not Jerry, most people look to the rabies uh, because of what it does to the brain. Rabies is a scary thing, and ultimately that's what it comes down to with most of these zombie movies. Is it's something that takes over your brain and makes you do what it wants you to do.
Yeah.
And for me, World War Z is the way. When I was watching that movie, I was thinking the whole time of, oh, that really could be it. Why would a parasite attach to a host that was already sick? It was already dying.
Yeah, because most of the time, like back, and that's why COVID was kind of mutating because it was killing the host,
right?
And they don't want to kill the host; they want to be able to. So yeah,
crazy, dude. So that's our top 5. Tell us what you think. First of all, our polling tonight is going to be if E.T. is an alien movie.
I do want to give Alien a little bit more.
No, not an alien movie.
Or I'm sorry,
horror movie.
A horror movie.
So Alien, I think, is related because I didn't really explain why it's relatable to me. Closed spaces where you can't escape scare the shit out of me.
So you're claustrophobic.
I'm very, very, very claustrophobic. I see people like do those cave where they get in those. Dude, I can't watch those things. It like makes my skin crawl. Like that's scary to me. It's just like I remember. Did you ever watch the old Justice League cartoon? Yeah. So there's an episode where they all get in this dream state. I can't remember what the villain was, but they all get in this dream state, and it's like if they die in the dream, they die in real life. But Hawk Girl is in a casket, and she can't get out. That scared the shit out of me. Like just anyways, being in a closed space and like not being able to get away from this thing that's just. I mean,
have you ever and completely scared? I'm with you. Like I'm not claustrophobic per se, but I'm also not going to put myself in a position that I can be claustrophobic. And some of these spelunkers and cave dwellers,
dude, I can't.
I watched a video the other day of the guy that was in the cave that went down the Widowmaker, and he went down face first, and that was it. There was no backing out, and he couldn't back out, and he died there. Those things give me such the creeps. Like, why would you do that?
Can you imagine just being in that? Oh my gosh, I can't even. I don't talk about it.
Just so creepy.
I hate. Yeah, I hate the things. Even the car. Even sometimes when I'm in a car for a long time, I can't stand to be in because I got to get out. Like
sometimes we are. I really believe the humans are given a sixth sense that we know when something's not right. We know when we should be somewhere else. Why would we not listen to that? You know what I mean? And some of those caves guys that go into that, and I'm thinking, how are you not listening to your sixth sense saying, yeah, that looks bad?
I never knew I was claustrophobic until 10 or 12 years ago. It was at some crappy little county fair. It was Fredericksburg, Virginia. I was there with my girlfriend. She and I were in this. I don't know why we decided to ride it. It was a ride for little kids, and it was a little small container she and I fit into, but our knees are pulled halfway up to her chin. The bar's right here. This sucker's like a lot of county fairs. It's so old. It should have been written off 50 years ago. The little plastic screen in front of you is so scratched up you can't see out. It's in the middle of the summer. It's hotter than crap. We're sweating profusely. And it took forever to get started. So you're hot, you're sweaty, you're crammed up in this little tiny space. It was meant for smaller kids. And my girlfriend and I, Patty, are in it. And you couldn't move. Your knees are pulled up to your chin, and I couldn't move. And it was hot. And they wouldn't start the flipping ride. I almost lost it. I almost lost it. Yeah. And I'm waving my arm. Get me the F out of here. And thankfully, that was the day I realized I was claustrophobic. The idea had never crossed my mind. I'd been in halfway tight spaces. I remember once my dad and I was working under the house, and we had to crawl back to the kitchen, and it started off a pretty deep space, but it narrows out, and it got so narrow that my father, a grown man, at one point got under a joist, and in such a position that he couldn't move. But he took his hands and dug at the dirt a little bit and was able to move. And he told me later when he got out, he said, I'm not claustrophobic, but there for a minute, I was getting a little scared. Now, I was younger at the time, so I had no problem moving. So I thought about it, but just didn't think I was. But it was that instant in that little crappy carnival ride that I realized I'm claustrophobic AF.
Yeah, no thanks. Oh my gosh, that's the one thing that'll make my skin crawl.
It does to me now. Just thinking about it. When you guys are describing this cave, I'm like, no freaking way.
Oh,
shoot me. I won't.
Yeah.
So what we've learned from this episode is our top 5. We have to do a Ouija board, and Jerry doesn't like tight spaces.
No, I don't.
All right, sounds good.
What a great conversation. But we're not done yet. Stick around through these very important ads for an awesome bonus story. JT's Way is a Christ-centered, nonprofit organization with a call to help hurting families during the loss of a child. At JT's Way, they assist families grieving from the loss of a child through assistance with things like funeral expenses, emotional support, guidance through the grief process, and help in their healing journey. While paying for funeral expenses, they help navigate picking a funeral home, burial plot, or cremation services, and provide families with grief counseling resources. JT was 17 years old when he died unexpectedly in an automobile accident. He was a senior in high school and a student in the automotive class. JT loved cars and music, and he took his role of friend very seriously and made sure to make friends wherever he went. Their mission at JT's Way is to minister to families by financially assisting and connecting them with their local resources. These resources will assist in the financial and emotional burden of burying a child. Their aim is to aid in the healing process for parents and families, and these resources include grief counseling and parent-sibling groups. The outside world doesn't stop, but we can tell you from experience that a parent's world certainly does. In a time of desperate hopelessness, JT's Way provides hope. If you want to help support JT's Way in their mission, please reach out to them at www.jtsway.com. JT would often say, "Let me challenge you to make a friend, be a friend, and most importantly, bring a friend to the loving arms of Jesus Christ."
Hi, this is Ed Locke with USA Mortgage. Buying your first home can be overwhelming, but here are 5 tips to make the process go smoother. Number 1, find a lender, me, Ed Locke, that can answer any questions you might have and help you get pre-approved. There are multiple options available based on your situation. Number 2, work with a real estate agent you can trust. Number 3, don't rush the process. Take your time and know that the process could take some time. Number 4, consider all the costs. Number 5, get a home inspection and review it with your realtor. Keep these tips in mind, budget for yourself, and you'll be that much closer to making your dream of homeownership a reality. So reach out to me at 502-680-0953. NMLS ID 448908, DAS Acquisition Company, LLC, doing business as USA Mortgage, NMLS ID 227262. This is not a commitment to lend. Additional terms and conditions apply. USA Mortgage is an equal housing opportunity.
If you would like to share suggestions for future episodes, or simply tell us how much you love or hate us, reach out to us via email at newsworthywithsteveandjerry@gmail.com or text us at area code 540-709-1318. And now, back to the story.
So tonight on the bonus story, we don't actually have a story. I wanted to talk and just give each of you guys an opportunity to, in November 5th, before our next episode, is probably in our lifetimes one of the most pivotal elections. Depending on where you live, your local elections are always important because they directly affect you, but also in the presidency. Just give a reason why you believe voting is important to you. We'll start with you, Brett.
I would say I think it's easy to be like, well, my vote doesn't matter because you're one in 370 million, and sometimes, I mean, maybe yeah, a lot votes aren't decided or elections aren't decided by one vote, but a lot of people complain that, oh well, look at the candidates we have, like this is the only two people that we have. Well, in most cases, maybe not in one case in this election, but in most cases, we have a primary that decides, hey, these are the people that we're going to put on the ballot. And so your vote matters. I mean, your vote is going towards that. So I think a lot of people just go with whoever's popular, whoever name they see the most, like and signs and things like that, or even if just Republican versus Democrat, they'll just be like, well, I'm Republican, so I'm going to vote Republican. I'm Democrat, I'm going to vote Democrat, instead of actually looking at the issues. So I think there's two things. I think it's important to know what issues are important to you, and what stance both as far as the presidential election, what stance both candidates hold as far as those important issues go. I think for me, like I have some central issues that are very important to me, and so those are crucial in deciding of who I'm going to vote for. But if you're going to complain after the election that, oh well, this person won, or this, and then you didn't even vote, you can't really complain because you didn't even practice your right. And not to mention women, if you're a woman, women went through a lot of struggle and a lot of sacrifices to get the opportunity to vote.
Everyone other than white men.
Right. I mean, it's so the ability to vote is a right that we're given, and luckily we live in a country that gives us a say in our election. You can complain about how much of a say we get, but we do get a say, and so yeah, I think it's very important to show up November 5th and pick who you think is going to help our country, get past this time that I think it's probably the hardest time in my lifetime of Americans, as far as groceries, housing, inflation, things like that. So yeah, I think this is. I mean, a lot of people are saying, not just us, this is one of the most important elections of all time in American history.
Yeah. And here on Newsworthy, we're not political. We used to be in our infancy. We're not now. And, I don't care who you vote for, red, white, blue.
Just vote.
Just vote.
And
Jerry?
know, like you said, know what you're voting.
Jerry,
Know
what do
why
you
you
think?
vote. Well, I totally agree with everything Brett said. But take it a little bit further. He's talking about if you don't vote after the election, don't be complaining. Here's my thing. Why vote? Unless you think this country is going fantastic and you're happy with the way everything is, in that case, just stay at home. Stay at home. Don't bother going to vote. But if you don't think that everything is perfect, if you don't think everything is going the way it should, do something about it. The way that we do something about it is by voting. There's other ways. You can talk to other people. By all means, let them know what you think and why you think it. Doesn't mean you're going to change someone's mind, but it starts the conversation. Maybe it gets someone else interested. Maybe it gets them looking. So, but it all starts with voting. If you don't care enough to go vote, then to me, you've given up all right to complain. Just I don't want to hear what you have to say. So, vote by all means.
And I will follow both of them by simply saying that many, many men and women have died to give us and to protect our right to vote. I don't care. Personally, I have my opinions. And for the last 3 presidential elections, I'm not afraid to tell you I voted for the independent person. Because it was a vote against somebody. I don't care if you vote for Kamala and the left and the Democratic side. I don't care if you vote for Donald Trump and the right and the Republican side. I would ask 2 things. Thing one is you become informed about what you care about. Do you care about the economy? Do you care about women's reproductive rights? What's the most important to you, regardless of where that is? And then fish out and find the candidate that matches what you believe in, because that's what it's all about. We can sit here and talk for days about my opinion, about Brett's opinion, about Jerry's opinion, about what's important to us. Every single person in 370 million people have a different view about different things. But we all only have one vote. So find the issue that you decide is the most important issue for you and make your decision. Also, please, please, please don't let that stop at the presidency, because the presidency affects everyone. However, the city council, the state offices, they affect you directly.
And you really have more of a say in those
Absolutely. So I'm not going to tell you who I'm going to vote for. I'm actually, for this election, going to make a vote I would in a million years never have voted for. I'm making that vote today or during this election because I feel it's that important.
Yeah.
And regardless of what your choice is, just know that you're not voting for yourself. You're also voting for your children and your grandchildren.
Exactly,
and what kind of world are they going to grow up in?
Yeah.
And that, tonight, my friends, is our bonus story. Doesn't matter who, right, left, red, blue, independent, who you're voting for, exercise your right to vote, because if you don't, you will lose that.
And I want to say one more thing. I think that we as we have evolved, we have a tribe mentality. This is my tribe. This is your tribe.
Yeah, absolutely.
We are all Americans. So
Yeah.
we all, no matter which side you're on, you believe that side is going to make America better.
You're not garbage?
Huh? You believe that side is going to make it. So we do have common ground, and who we vote for does not define who we are as a person.
Here's the thing, and we joke about it all the time, but here's the truth. If you're on Facebook and you unfriend somebody because of who they vote for, then you weren't friends to begin with.
Yeah.
We're adults. If I can't have a discourse with you about what I believe is important and what you believe is important, then you need to reevaluate yourself.
I mean, how many times before the show have we, sat there and talked for an hour and a half about how Jerry's wrong?
I know, right? But
And
here
every
we
single
are.
time I prove that I'm right, but nevertheless, it continues.
We still here every week because we're adults.
Yeah.
We have free minds, and it's okay to be
And
different.
Do you know who I respect more? People who vote different from me, or people who vote the same as me but don't know why?
Right.
100%. I respect the guy who votes different from me but knows why.
Right.
Every
Absolutely.
time.
Absolutely.
No,
Become
as you said it so well. Know what's important to you, then become educated about yourself, then become educated about the candidates. So many
Yeah.
people don't bother with either one.
So many, and candidates know this. They
absolutely.
are masters. First of all, let's wrap this up by just saying, out of 370 million, we have chosen the people that we want to vote for. Unfortunately,
We
en
don't blame but ourselves.
Ain't got nobody to blame but ourselves. At the two candidates at the very tops of the tickets
We chose one of them.
are right.
No, we chose both.
Are the people that we chose. So support your candidate. Just
Yeah,
go
for sure.
out, vote. People have laid their lives in the sand, in the mud, in the water, in the depths of places that you don't want to believe exist for this opportunity. Don't squander it. Go vote. And Jerry, if you can't see the light,
Be the light.
$1 hour, 44 fucking minutes.
Any idea? We was talking about 370, and you did just population, and I got to wondering how many registered voters.